Why are so many students in Trinidad and Tobago failing at mathematics? How are we ever going to solve the problem with SEA if we don't have any figures or numbers about how many students actually failing or passing? Why is it so hard to find out this type of information? What does any of this tell us about the system? Get ready to get your education.
Get your education, boy.
So with today's topic, I'm not just going to be asking questions. We are going to be looking for answers because this topic is dear to my heart. For years, I've tutored over 80 students one-on-one in mathematics. Every student coming with their own challenges, stories, struggles, and eventually I began to notice a pattern. And I realized that it wasn't just individual students facing these problems. There was a much bigger problem. Now, I've tutored students from like 8 years old to 50 years old, SEA to CSEC, Standard 2 to Form 5, and repeaters outside of school. Now, with such a wide range of students from all over the country, from Carenage to Labre, from Port of Spain to Scarborough, I've observed that something deeper is going on with mathematics education in Trinidad and Tobago. So I wanted to see the bigger picture, and I went looking for the data. My goal was 20 years worth of exam results, going back to about 2005. But all I want to know the truth? That information and those numbers were not easy to find. They were scattered, selective, and sometimes missing altogether. The data behind the results of the performance of the students in Trinidad and Tobago is not accessible. Really? No data? No, that might not be the best policy because they say that data is the new oil. But it's like with data and student performance in Trinidad and Tobago, it's like the refinery closed because the information was just so limited and unavailable. It was staggering. And I started to ask myself, well, what can I actually uncover at this point? Because the data just all over the place and a lot of it was missing. And the question I want you, the public, to ask yourself, why does any of this even matter?
Get your education, boy.
Okay, so every year, thousands of students write mathematics exams at both levels, SEA and the CSEC level. And every year, as a tutor, I hear the same thing. Maths is the reason I didn't pass for my first choice, or I tried CSEC Math so much times, this had to be my last chance. Or Maths, I passed everything except that. And, as a maths tutor, I hear these things all the time. And not only that, during sessions, when I am actually tutoring students, I see the frustration, the embarrassment, the shame, the silent pain behind those kinds of statements. And because of how many times I've seen and heard this over and over and over, I decided to investigate. What's the story behind the scores? Are we improving or are we declining? Are we even tracking the information properly? Now, what I found was a system with so many blind corners. It's scary.
Get your education, boy.
Alright, so this is just some of the data I was able to find. Let's start with SEA mathematics. Now, in 2010, 32.5% of students scored below 50%. Then in 2021, that number went up to 47.7%. Recently, in 2022, 62.9% of students scored below 50%. And more than a quarter scored under 30%. Now, if you were wondering, well, what the national average might be year after year, right now that floats around 53%. Other information I was able to find, girls consistently do better, averaging about 5 points higher than boys. So the struggle is real. We have about half of our students failing at SEA mathematics, and we have boys being outperformed by the girls at a wide gap of about 5 points. Now let's look at CSEC Mathematics. In 2019, we had a pass rate at about 48.7%. 2020, that went up to 53.9%. In 2021, the pass rate dropped a little to 47.3%. In 2023, it was 50.5%. 2024, it was 42.1%. That's within Trinidad and Tobago. Between 2008 and 2018, 59% of Caribbean students failed CSEC Mathematics. And Trinidad has followed along those same trend lines, where the results have been flat, very fragile, and really and truly far too low.
Get your education, boy.
Alright, so here's the crazy part, right? There is no continuous public record of these results year by year. Most of what I just told you came from scattered press releases, academic papers, the occasional quotes from ministers, and the Ministry of Education only began publishing an Education Statistics Digest in 2022, and even that only covers 2019 and 2020. To get real data, I most likely have to put in a Freedom of Information request, and if the result's not looking too good, let's just say that information might be a little delayed. Now, we are going to be trying to put these requests in on a later episode.
Get your education, boy.
So, what do we actually know? We know that there's a gender gap where girls consistently outperform boys, especially in single-sex schools. In some co-ed schools, boys' pass rates in CSEC Math tipped as low as 33%. We know there's a school type gap where prestige schools consistently outperform government schools. And we know that there's a cognitive skills gap where students do okay on knowledge-based questions. But when it comes to reasoning and problem solving, there's a struggle. And if you think about it, reasoning and problem solving are the two areas we need in everyday life. So it's a bad place for us to be. And it's not just the numbers. It's really and truly how we are teaching and what students are being asked to do in the classroom.
Get your education, boy.
Alright, so it's not like we've done absolutely nothing to try and solve the problem, right? We've seen curriculum reform at both levels, CSEC and SCA. We've seen a math SBA introduced at the CSEC level. The Ministry of Education started remedial programs for students, especially coming out of COVID. There has been teacher training introduced. There have been STREAM initiatives. And with all of these different programs, the truth is that execution has been patchy and training very limited. And there's the pressure to get through the syllabus that causes many teachers to just default to their old methods of teaching. Now, what we have to realize is that reforms do not guarantee results. Now, all this information I'm sharing with you, this is not my opinion. This is just a brief summary of an extensive review of the literature taken from academics researching these issues, journalists reporting on the results, and also reports from the Ministry of Education. All of which I will link below in an AI summary format.
Get your education, boy.
So what do we need? If we want to change this, we need the most basic ingredient, right? Clarity. We need annual reporting, we need tertiary level data, and we need public access. And this isn't about embarrassment, it's about accountability. We are spending billions of dollars in education, and 50% of our students are failing at one of the most critical subject areas, mathematics. And It's also about trusting the public with this information and with the truth. So here's my takeaway. We've spent 2 decades asking kids to solve math problems, but nobody wants to solve the bigger problem. Why are so many of them failing? And why aren't we talking about it? In the next episodes, we will be getting deeper into this topic. We're going to be talking to educators, students, and if we can, we will be contacting a few ministers to try and get some kind of clarity. Any stakeholders that have any information that they would like to share on this topic, they can email me at andreb@asonlinetutor.com. I'm Andre Burton. This is Get Your Education. Be sure to share this episode, give me a like, ask your school about these issues, approach your MP, talk to your minister. We need to get some kind of numbers, we need more information. The public needs to know what the real problems are. So thank you very much for listening, thank you very much for watching. This is Get Your Education. Real learning starts where the classroom ends.
Get your education, boy.